Hey, what's going on, Scatterbrains? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Scattered Brilliancy. My name is Travis, and I am here to do a review for Married at First Sight, Season 10, Episode 5. You may have to excuse me, I just finished smashing. Oh, it was so good. I just finished eating the rest of my red velvet cake from Nothing But Cakes. Oh my gosh, those cakes were so good. And now I'm sad that it's all gone. But, that sugar may hit my system during this video, so we're going to hope that it doesn't. Second thing, you may wonder, why does Travis have on hats in most of his videos? If you haven't figured out by now, I'm bald. And since I'm out on leave, I'm not shaving my head on the daily. So right now, I'm looking like, George Jefferson mixed with a little bit of Carl Winslow. And I'm about to be on YouTube looking like that. So, until I actually shave my head, a hat is what you shall see. And I'm already getting hot. So thank you, number one. Number three, for watching my last review. Y'all seem to really enjoy it, which is awesome. So appreciate that. So I gotta be honest, last night's episode, I don't feel like I connected with it. I feel like I was kind of just like watching it and not like taking it in. And I don't know if that's because the content or just because I was sleepy. But I don't really feel like I know what's going on. I really just kind of feel lost and confused. But hey, I'm finding Dory up in this piece. No, Finding Nemo. All right, so Jostin, we'll start with them because I have like 3 lines for them. Only thing that happened with them during this episode was, and somebody in my comments, I know I'm all over the place because I feel like that sugar is creeping into my system. Somebody in the comments last week was like, can you stop giving them nicknames? Like, what are we in middle school? Yeah, I guess we're in middle school because they get nicknames and the nicknames are not going anywhere. So if you cannot keep up, my reviews are not for you, Oh no, yeah, it was a guy saying, can I stop doing nicknames? And some lady was like, what are we in middle school? Why are you picking on something like that? Whatever. Just stop watching, y'all. That's all you gotta do. YouTube is free. Anybody watching, making y'all watch stuff? So Jostin, back to them. Not much happened with them. They went and looked at some iguanas. She said she had a crush on him and they go to the spa, and by the end of the episode, we know that they did it. They are the neutral couple, one of the neutral couples on this show that, just kind of, they're the regular ones. Everybody else is kind of like hot and cold, but Jostin is kind of, they just in the middle. Just, they're there to keep things balanced in a sense. Moving on to Carrick, because I'm going in order of, least interesting to most interesting. For Carrick, she asked him during the episode to ask her to help her with taking her insulin because she's a diabetic, and he was total game for it and he didn't have an issue with it. Me, on the other hand, if I had to help Carmen like stick herself with a needle, I don't know how it would feel. Like I'm okay with needles, but sticking somebody else with needles, I was about to make a really inappropriate joke, but I'm glad I didn't. But sticking somebody else with needles, it's just is not my thing. Anyway, so it's her birthday at some point during this honeymoon. I don't know if it's like the second day there or the third day, I'm not sure. But it's her birthday, so he decides to do something really romantic. He goes and gets a whole bunch of rose petals and he puts them all over the place. I did that for Carmen, and it looks real nice when you put out rose petals and everything, but then it's like, who gonna clean this up? It's like, after we done blew the candles out and, we done got the towel and cleaned up, who's cleaning up all these rose petals? Who's doing that? It's a lot of stuff to clean up. Anyway, so she was really pleased about that, and she said it was making her feel a certain kind of way, aka it was making her feel moist. And they, as well as Jostin, consummated their marriage at some point within this time frame of the episode. And that's all I have for them. So the experts said that they wanted the couples to meet up so that they can have their support system and they can bounce off of each other and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll circle back around to if anything happened with the couples when I start talking about the couples actually meeting up, because they met up twice during this episode. All right, let's move on to Brayler. So when Taylor and her wig wake up, she puts a camera in Joe Budden's face, and he immediately is like, he just jumps out the bed, and I'm just like, what? And then she kind of like is trying to ask him, are you okay? And Joe ain't saying nothing. He's not giving her any kind of feedback. Like, Brandon is just not responsive at all. And so Taylor and her wig is really confused about like what's going on. So we don't find out. She says that he was distant that whole day. So She says, Taylor in the wig says that at some point during that day, she brought him a beer at the pool and he said he didn't want it. But then later she saw him drinking the beer that he said he didn't want. Excuse me. I said, she says the pool was nice. Earlier, he was upset about the camera. I don't know what I was typing, y'all. I was half asleep. I was half asleep watching. Pretty much, Brandon had a panic attack because, he was paranoid. I meant to say that. He was paranoid because he was like, her putting that camera in my face when I first, damn. Her putting that camera in my face made me wonder, like, have you been recording me while I sleep? He didn't laugh, but y'all, he randomly laughs. But he was like, has she been recording me while I was asleep? Like, that made me feel some kind of way. So he had a panic attack because of the camera. And so for me, I'm really starting to think like, Brandon, you need a little bit of help. Like, Married at First Sight is not for you. Like, you were paranoid about Taylor and her wig having this camera in your face. Yet the fact that you have been followed by cameras for at least the past 4 days up to 2 weeks. Why does her one Sony Handycam make a difference? The fact that it's in your face. I don't understand what you're paranoid about. But then at the same time, I don't understand people who have like constant panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I don't understand that. Maybe there's a connection. I don't know. But later in the evening, he apologizes to her for acting like that. And she says that she just felt ignored and that was something that she didn't like. And he had disrespected her earlier or something because he told her to get over something. Maybe that's later. Did I miss that part? He said something about, oh yeah. She was telling him that she felt ignored and he said, well, I apologized like 1,000 times to just get over it. And so that was making Taylor and her wig feel disrespected. But we're just seeing like the prelude of their blow up. So later in the evening, he asked for forgiveness and they go to feed sloths later in the episode. And while they were there, sloths are really slow animals that just make me really uncomfortable when they move. But while they were feeding sloths, Taylor and her wig kept making a bunch of like jabs at him. Like they might have said something like, the sloth is an antisocial being. And she was like, oh, kind of like you. Like she was making little jabs like that. And she did at least 2 of them that I can remember. So I was thinking that at some point Joe Budden was going to get mad. But he didn't in this episode. So, it was what it was. But they fed them and, he decided to take some cues from Derek and do something nice for Taylor and her wig. He went and got some rose petals and pretty much kind of did like the exact same thing. And they wore their matching swimsuits. His, I'm assuming, said like hubby or husband or something like that. And hers said maybe wifey or something like that. And they got in that small bathtub. And I was just like, ooh, that tub is small for both of y'all to be in there. But I mean, I'm sure, they liked it and they probably hunched after all of this was over. Now, let's talk about Taylor and her wig real quick. Taylor and her wig was like, ooh, I'm going to switch it up on you girls. You thought you knew what kind of wig I was going to bring out, but she hit you with that wet and wavy. I don't know if that was the exact same wig and it was just, it was just wet. But I was like, oh, look at it looking a little later than it normally does, It didn't look as frizzy, That's why I just think it was like wet. So it was a little later than it usually is. I don't know. But, I'm getting used to Taylor and her wig. If they like it, cool. I'm just trying to figure out how she sleeps in it. That's the one thing maybe she takes it off. I'll be willing to bet she probably takes it off after they go to bed. Somebody in the comments said, I wonder what she looks like up under that wig. And I said, like that, me. All right, moving on. Oh, yeah, I feel this sugar in my system. Let's go to Mindy and Zach. Mitch. So they, keep in mind, the end of last episode, he told her that he wasn't attracted to her. And what is she going to do about it? So now this is the next day, the morning after. And they talk and they're in bed. And he's kind of like, when your Venus is in your Mars and the moon is perfectly aligned with the earth, the sun sets in the east, but it rises in the west. And when it's daylight savings time in Arizona, then it must be daylight saving time in West Virginia, because I truly believe that when our hearts are attached like the strings of Pinocchio, everything will come full circle, like the circle of life in Simba and Nala, and we'll be on the same page. And Teeth was just like, what are you talking about? I was so confused. While he started talking, that's what made me start to disconnect from this episode, because I'm like, Zach is just talking. I'm not crazy, y'all. I'm fiend, don't I? Zach is just talking to hear himself talk. And I have no clue what he's saying. So I didn't know if it was me. I didn't know if I was feeling like a little remedial. But when she was like, she didn't know what he was talking about, I felt a whole lot better because I really in that moment was like, oh, he must be talking real deep and I don't know what he's saying. Because he was just going on and on and on. I'm just like, what are we talking about? Like, this is so freaking confusing. So he talked in circles and she was still lost. So she was for real, like finding Dory. But they have wine on the beach later and she just talks about how she needs affirmations. It's obvious that Teeth is extremely insecure about herself. And I think being with a guy that looks like Zach makes her feel even more insecure. But she was just trying to express like what she needs from him, but the connection is they're just not connecting. It's just not there. Watching them at this point is just like, ugh, tired of looking at y'all. So what does she do to make you happy? I gotta start taking better notes when I'm sleepy. At some point or another, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. Like I said, I did not connect with the episode, so my notes are just like scattered. So at some point or another, Teeth was asking him, like, do you just expect everyone to be attracted to you because of the way that you look? And he never said, that I can remember, he never said no. But I think somewhere deep down inside of Hair, he believes everyone is just automatically attracted to him because of the way he looks, probably also because of the attention that he probably gets from women up until this point, you know. And that's no surprise there. So for him to be paired with someone who does not look like someone straight off the pages of IG, you know, the producers of the show knew what they were doing. But I felt like in every scene for them, I got no clarity on anything outside of the fact that Zach is completely full of Zach. I feel like that's the only thing I learned about Mitch throughout this whole episode is that he is full of himself. If we weren't sure before, we know now. Because every time they were talking, I was just so confused about what was happening. But she was just saying that she needed more from him. So later they go on this little river journey to go find the colors of the wind. And then they go visit the natives and they go try to make some art with the native people. I was gonna make some jokes about natives, but I'm like, I might offend somebody, so let me just keep that to myself. I'm gonna assume it was the indigenous Panamanian people because they're in Panama. I don't know if there's a specific name. I have no information about that region of the world. So, hey, you know, Google. But they made something, you know, some kind of arts and crafts, and it was a good time for them. So pretty much for them by the end of the episode, you know, they're on good terms, I guess you can say. All right, we're gonna move on finally to Eminem, Mika, and Michael. So she wakes up pretty much the exact same way she did before this process, alone. And he's in his room alone. And they're both just trying to figure out like what's going on. Something I noticed about Michael when he talks, outside of the cadence of his voice, he talks with his mouth closed. There are certain people who, when they talk, they hit you with one of these. So I was telling them that like they close their eyes, like they're going deep into thought. He does that sometimes. Like he closes his eyes, like he goes into his mind to really find the words that he's gonna use. So y'all watch out for that next episode. But they both end up talking to Pastor Cal about what happened regarding the ultimatum regarding sex during the honeymoon. Pastor Cal talks to her first, then he tells her he's going to talk to him. And he suggests that they just bring it down to a friend level. Just be friends, get to know each other at that level, which is what they should have been doing in the first place. Like why you're being advised to do that, I don't really understand, because you should have known that's what you needed to do. But he tells her, just focus on getting to know him, which I mean, I'm like, what was she doing this whole time anyway? But he talks to Cal, and so they finally come back together later to talk. And they talk about that his concern in just being friends is he doesn't want to lose part of the marriage. And I was kind of confused about like, what do you mean you don't want to lose things that come with the marriage? But I think sex might be the thing that he's talking about, because for me, as far as me and my wife are concerned, I have to look at her like she's my best friend. If you're going to be the person that I see every day, that I talk to every day, that I confide in, that I tell my deepest secrets to, you are my best friend. That's who you are. That is your job, your new job. So as far as like, I don't understand what the difference in a best friend is and a spouse outside of the intimate part. You know what I mean? Like outside of that I kind of feel like it's the same thing. Y'all let me know if I made any sense with that or if you disagree. So I think Michael doesn't want to say on camera, but he is really just trying to get in that cookie jar. He is Cookie Monster. He wants chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, snickerdoodle sugar. He wants it. Macadamia nut. Macadamia nut. That's what he wants. And that's what he wants. He's just not going to say it out loud. So his bright idea is, since he feels like I failed you as a husband, so I'm going to take off my ring. That made absolutely no sense for me to be like, I have failed you as a husband. So for that reason, I'm going to take off my ring. And when I earn it back, that is when I'll put it back on. It was a crock pot of shulbit, okay? A crock pot full of shulbit, but you know, whatever. So Mika takes her ring off too. And it's just like, y'all are still married. Y'all are still married, rings or no rings. Now, everybody doesn't wear a ring, which is cool, but you can't have your ring on and then take it off because you feel like you failed as a spouse. I fail every day. Ask my wife, and I still get my ring on. Yeah, it just is what it is. All right, so they decided that communication needs to be the biggest thing between them, and I think that's for anybody. And they're going to talk about, he says it's going to take a lot of work to rebuild their foundation. I'm like, what foundation do y'all have, bruh? Y'all don't have a foundation. That's the purpose of the show. You don't have a foundation. You skip the foundation and they just build the house. Like, there's no foundation to be rebuilt. You just have to build it. Michael was confusing me. At some point or another during this episode, he said that he got a new job and he was about to be a principal. So, you know, hey, good for him. It's good to see black men in education. As a black man in education, we only make up 2% of teachers. Black males only make up 2% of teachers in this country. So nothing wrong with that. All right, so let's talk about when the couples got together, and then I'm gonna get on up off of here because I'm starting to get hot in this hat and I refuse to let y'all see me in this struggle mode right here. So they meet up at the pool earlier in the day. Michael does not come with Mika. And so like they're asking Mika questions like, you know, what's going on? Where's Michael? And she's like, I don't know. Who know what he is? So they all realizing, oh, they got some serious issues going on. And so the girls just try to rally around her because when he does join the group, they separate. The girls go to like the hot tub and the guys go to like something. And side note, why on God's green earth did Zach have on all black in Panama? Now, unless this was filmed on the coldest day of the year, which it didn't look like it, why do you have on all black? You do realize that black absorbs heat. Or maybe he was being modest. Maybe he was like, I ain't gonna do it to y'all today. Maybe he was like, since I have the best body, I don't want to make anybody feel bad about taking their shirt off. So I'm gonna leave mine on. I don't know. So anyway, let's see what I got for these notes because I don't really feel like much happened here either. Okay, let's see. Hair is down there in all black, just said that. Taylor asked if anyone knew or figured out why they got matched. You know, some of them kind of figured it out. Some of them were just kind of on the fence. And moving on to the girl talk, they talk about sex, PDA, kisses and cuddles is what most of them have been doing. That means you ain't getting no play. You just kissing and cuddling. And, you know, Mika goes into detail about the Michael situation. They all, you know, try to give her support. And as far as the guys talk is concerned, Zach says he's not there yet. And he didn't feel anything with his first kiss with Teeth. But he says he can build up to it. But for me, it's just kind of like, if you didn't feel anything with her at your first kiss, I just don't see it. Like, for me, if it was me and I didn't feel any kind of sparks, if I didn't feel anything, like it's just a desert, I didn't feel nothing, I just don't see it going anywhere. I just don't. I mean, yes, attractions build over time, but for me, I'm the kind of person, like, there's gotta be something. Like, we gotta have something that's happening right up here at the front, and then we can build on everything else. But, you know, we'll see what happens with them. I say that as if I don't know what's happened with them. I'm sorry, there's a lot of ums in this. You know, the episode was just blah to me. They have dinner. Everybody asks how things are going. Mika expresses herself. They talk about the ring thing. and we find out that Jocelyn and them had consummated. So, I mean, like I said, it felt like a whole lot of nothing. It felt like a whole lot of nothing, and I might be wrong. Like I said, it may just be me. I don't know, so y'all just let me know. But that's all I got for this episode. That's all I got. Y'all let me know what y'all thought of episode 5. It just felt real. It was okay. I don't know if I remember seeing a preview for next week. I can't remember if I saw the preview or not. But, let me know if there's something I need to look forward to. Please make sure you remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and share if you feel like it. Hit the bell if you want to. I appreciate y'all so much for watching my last review. Y'all got that thing up to 5K views. Can y'all do that with this one? Can you do it with this one? I'm going to get off of here, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace.